Welcome to another episode of POV, where I give my point of view on all things football related. First of all, it's my team. Arsenal were the first team to go back into training after 47 days of isolation. They've been told that they're going to be training separately in only small groups of 5, and they're not there to socialise or mingle, although it's going to be hard to enforce. I mean, you stand there, you have a little conversation, it is what it is, but they're making sure that they're sticking to strict guidelines and they have security and staff to make sure that people are adhering to the rules. So the reason why Arsenal were in first is because they were the first ones to go into isolation due to the coronavirus disease being contracted by the Olympiacos chairman. So they were enforced first when they were meant to play Manchester City on the Tuesday, and it was the following week where clubs started to go. It was the following week where matches started to get cancelled, and then the following to that was training session was still going on, but then it was subsequently cancelled after that. But Arsenal's were already in isolation 2 weeks before because of the Olympiacos game. So it's a glimmer of light. It's a glimmer of normality that things are starting to go back to normal. It's going to be a long way away until they do, and it looks like we're probably not going to see any spectator sports until next year. It's a bit long. It's a bit shit. But it is what it is, and it's actually starting to change my view as to whether we should be avoiding this league or not. I was a staunch advocate of avoiding the league, because just in my eyes, it's like I just feel like you're wasting time in trying to finish these last 10 games, and when the league could potentially begin when it should do next year, but. The more I'm thinking about it now, is if we're going to be playing games behind closed doors, why even start the new season when everything's behind closed doors? Why not start a new season from fresh, start a season from next season? Potentially rejig the World Cup and change it round, because we've got a World Cup that's going to be in winter soon, so maybe we can do something along the lines of working together on that. But in my eyes, now that I know that there's going to be no spectators in at these games until next year, and then we see where we go from there. In my head, there's no real rush to start the new season when it's looking bleak for anything to look close to normal in the next 6 months. Next, FIFA are proposing to allow 5 subs. Yes, 5 subs in each game due to the pandemic. They're saying that with the amount of games that are going to be able to play in a short space of time, they want to minimise the chances that people are going to catch the virus by being involved in every minute of every game. It makes logical sense, but that also made logical sense before the pandemic. Having 5 subs, giving people opportunity to make tactical changes, so they didn't have to go down to a certain amount of men if they'd made them 3 subs. 5 subs makes sense to me. It gives youth team players a chance to maybe get some game time when the 3 subs have already initially been made for a tactical reason or something like that. I don't know, but it seems smart. It's another progression in football from the time when we had no substitutes to the time where we had 5 substitutes on the bench. So now we have 7 substitutes on the bench, and the progression now is that we can make 5 subs. I don't think it will go any more than that, and I think it's a good idea. So FIFA, this is one of your ideas for me that works. Next, a couple of things have been brought to my attention that I feel we need to talk about. Liverpool. If they get Tino Werner or Mbappe, is their league over? Now, realistically, Liverpool stormed ahead of the league this season. They may win the league, they may not. But if they get Werner or Mbappe, this spells trouble for a lot of us. There's no real talk of Man City bringing anyone, especially now they've had their hands slapped due to FFP. So the only other people that have got some big money in the league are Newcastle. So we're pinning our hopes on Newcastle being the team to knock Liverpool off their perch in a time where no one potentially could have money, but Liverpool could potentially have money and buy one of either of Europeans' hottest prospects. Let me know. Next. Now, I'm going to do this thing called Newcastle Watch, because they're an old team that I used to like. They're a team that everyone seems to love, and I just want to keep on top of who they're going to be buying in the transfer window. Latest one, Uruguayan striker Edinson Cavani. Would they get him? Can they get him? Is it possible? The reports that I hear a few weeks ago is that Cavani had his heart set on going back home to Uruguay to be managed under his good friend Diego Forlan and play alongside another good friend in Christian Rodriguez. This could still be a dream of Cavani to end his career at his childhood club. But, could Newcastle pose a very interesting project that Edinson Cavani could turn his head to? Who knows? But watch this space. Currently, there's also news that they're speaking to the representatives of Philip Coutinho. Now that one is an exciting prospect and something that I could actually see happening. So, Edinson Cavani, maybe. Coutinho, possibly. Either way, watch this space. And the final one of today. It's a mixed bag. I'm sorry about the confusion in all these videos. These things come over days though, so it is what it is. Anyway, the most important one I'd say, I spoke about early in the video about bringing back the league, about maybe we should think about starting the league next season and actually finish this one due to the fact that for the rest of the year the games are potentially going to be played behind closed doors. In fact, they're going to be played behind closed doors. So I thought in my head, maybe just don't rush it. Draw out the games all the way up until Christmas. Have your summer holidays. I don't know. Must be something we can do. Maybe put the Euros in between the gap that would be after that season's done to the next one. Then you have a pre-season. I don't know, but maybe something. It looks like it could be taken out of the Premier League's hands if they want anything to do with Europe next season. By the way that France have now abandoned their league, Holland have abandoned their league, and Belgium were the first ones to void their league. So it looks like voiding the league seems to be the most sensible thing for the Premier League to do if they want to be involved in anything that happens next season, European-wise. Then I start to hear things from players. We as fans, pundits, journalists, go around trying to dictate when this will start due to money. No one's spared a second to think about the players. And I'm sure it gets whispered over or something is sort of something, maybe a light gesture. But has anyone really taken a second to think about the players that are involved in this? These players that have to go back to families. These players that potentially have to see vulnerable people. Now, this is a disease that no one knows about. Early doors, people were saying stupid things like kids can't get it. Yet, we've heard tragic news of kids that have got it. And now we're hearing the fact that after the coronavirus, there's potentially another illness off the back of coronavirus, which could do serious damage to children. So what you're asking is football players to go into an environment which is potentially dangerous before they've got a vaccine, before they've got anything really sorted properly, to make sure that a league's finished due to the integrity of that league. Does that really show much integrity or honour to the players that have given up their lives or potentially putting themselves in danger for entertainment? How important is football? I think we should start thinking about the people that are actually going to be involved in this as opposed to the fans that they keep talking about that are watching it. Because for me, if a football player dies off the back of a bit of entertainment or a bit of joy that I get from watching TV on a screen, then I don't want a part of it at all. So I think we should start involving the players in this rather than putting these plans together to try and make sure this league's ended by a certain date and it's just going to be rushed and someone's going to get seriously ill and potentially something fatal might happen, which will be the sad thing. It won't just be a footballer that'll be dead, it'll be football altogether that'll be dead. Next.